Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 21 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Gwendolyn H. Gwendolyn, thank you so much for the support. We could not do this without you, so we really do appreciate it. And thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guest of the day like Gwendolyn, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Alright, so when we left off yesterday, happy days are here again. They had the Power Veto competition, the host was Nicole, the players were Jess, Jack, Jackson, and the three extras, Tommy, Kat, and Nick. And apparently it was some sort of like space themed competition, Area 21 Galaxy Camp, and it was punishments and prizes. Always a crowd favorite, right? So let's go through the prizes. Jess won the Power Veto. Oh my god. Kat won a trip to Hawaii, and Nick won $5,000, which means 3 people got punishments, and they were Tommy, Jack, and Jackson. Oh my god! Was this actually like the reveal for the field trip vote or what? So yeah, they all got punishments. We'll come back to them because I don't have all the details yet, and I also want to give it to you guys as, you know, what am I trying to say? Whatever, we'll get back to it. So anyway, everyone is really happy after the competition. The 4, meaning Tommy, Sis, Jack, and Christy, they've been downgraded to the 4 now. So if I say the 4, that's what I'm talking about. They think that they have the votes to keep Jack. So they're like, this is perfect. We've got the votes. Jess has now been exposed as a comp beast. And Tommy thinks that because he and Jack have punishments, it's gonna make up for trying to flip the vote on Kat, and like everybody's gonna be cool with them again because they're gonna be like, oh, they took punishments, wow. I don't think so. And he also says it's great because Jess didn't want to change her nominations, and now she doesn't have to. Okay, so then Sis is like, you don't think they're trying to pull something right now, right? And Tommy says they can't. Oh, they can though! My god, Thursday's gonna be so much fun! Okay, so on the other side, Cliff and his crew, they all know that they have the votes to keep Jackson. If everybody votes the way that they're saying they're gonna vote, it's gonna be 5-3 with Jack going. So Cliff, Jess, and Nicole do their celebratory dance in the storage room, and now Jess is like, yeah, I can keep my nominations the same. This is great. And also, Christy's Whacktivity power is a dud because this was the last week, excuse me, I'm a mess. This is the last week that she would have potentially been able to use it, so now it's done. Okay, so Cliff is like, whoa, we gotta be careful because the other side is gonna be putting a lot of pressure on Kat and Nick this week, trying to get them to get rid of Jackson. So we've really gotta make sure that they're solid. And Jess is super confident that Kat is with them because Jess is her girl, or sorry, oh my god, what is wrong with me? Kat is her girl, and luckily both of Kat's alliances have the same target this week. I'm not really sure at this point who she would stick with if Cliff's Angels and her 3-mance were like on opposing sides. So they're lucky this week that it's working out that they're on the same side. But Cliff says the other side is going to be in Kat's ear about how poorly Jackson treated her and how she's betraying her womanhood if she keeps him. And Cliff's right, they are going to do that, so they need to be ready. So then later, Nicole and Cliff were playing backgammon in the treehouse, and Nick was up there with him. I think there was some like spinning involved in the Power Veto competition, so Nick was like really dizzy after that. They even gave him gum, and he was just kind of hanging out upstairs just like with a towel over his head or something. So Nick tells them he's kind of worried that Holly is still trying to be with the 4, so she's probably gonna vote Jackson out. You really think she's gonna vote out the one that she lays with? Come on! So he's like, in that case, Jess would have to break a tie. The vote would be 4-4. So Nick says maybe Jess should use the veto on Jackson, make sure that he's safe, and put somebody else up to ensure that Jack goes. And he says it'll be great because Jackson will owe Jess, we'll still get rid of Jack. Seems to me like Nick is trying to cover his ass with Christy, Tommy, and Sis. Like, yeah, I think he wants Jack to go this week, but at the same time, he's afraid that he's gonna be declaring which side he's on with this vote. So he figures, okay, if I can get somebody else up on the block from the 4, then they're not gonna be mad at me when I vote Jack out, because they'll all be voting him out too. So he's still trying to cover his bases here, see what you're doing. And Nicole's like, I don't know if that's a good idea because it's gonna make another enemy for Jess. And Nick says they're gonna be after her anyway, with her going after Jack, so. And Cliff is like, I don't know, it could be a good idea. We'll talk about it more later. So then Kat was in the have-not room with Jackson and Holly, and they're talking about how Tommy thinks that he's so good with Kat now because he like let her have the Hawaii trip. I'm not sure at this point if he like gave it to her and took her punishment, or if he just didn't take it away from her. I'm not really sure how it worked out. But in any case, he's like, I like let her have the trip, so we're cool now. And Kat's like, oh, no, 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 no. She says she can go to Hawaii whenever she wants. She goes all the time. She says she's grateful for the trip, but at the same time, Tommy tried to flip the vote on her, so they are not good, not cool. So Kat says that Jack also tried to flip the vote on her, and she's saying even though her and Jackson may not get along like on a personal level sometimes, he never tried to evict her. Well, she doesn't know that Jackson did actually try to flip the votes on her, but it didn't pan out because Holly was like, no freaking way that's happening. But anyway, they're all going over their story about what Jackson's told people about Kat and Holly knowing each other, blah, 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 whatever. I can't listen to it again. It's exhausting. So then, Kat is telling Jackson, Jess wants you to stay this week. That is for real. So don't F it up. And Holly is really glad that Jess won both competitions this week after the others talked so much crap about her all season. Which, like, yeah, but at the same time, don't act like you weren't a part of that. Oh my god, Jackson and Holly keep talking about how it's like high school in here and they're being bullied and being shunned by the others. What do you think you were doing while you were working with them? Did you forget that all that happened? So yeah, I hope you see how shitty you were being to other people. So Kat confirms that she is voting to evict Jack, and they're gonna all act like Jackson is the one leaving because they don't want this getting out there. They don't want anything jeopardizing this flip. So Jackson says moving forward, he will be targeting Christy, Tommy, and Sis. Guns effing blazing. Okay, so Holly says she wants them to work on Nick's vote, really secure that, just in case Cliff makes a deal with the devil. Because Holly is still not sure if she can totally trust Cliff. Oh my god. But they're both already on board. Nick and Cliff are both down to clown. They're both planning on voting for Jackson to stay this week. So then, after this conversation's over, Kat is going to the HOH room with Christy and Jess. And on her way there, they don't show it on the feeds, but you can hear it. Nick is asking her, like, oh, are you okay? What's going on? And she's like, I'm fine, I'm fine. And he's like, oh, you're not a good liar, Kat. And he was like joking around, I guess, but Kat did not take it well. So she goes into the HOH room and Christy's like, oh, hi. Where were you? I think she knew. But Kat's like, oh, I was in Camp Comeback. So Christy's asking her about it. How did it go? Blah, blah, blah. And then Kat starts crying, or fake crying. I don't think there was any liquid coming out. I think she was playing. So she's saying she's uncomfortable and she's stressed because she can't get straight answers from people. She's still really hung up on this vote flip that didn't happen, and everybody's telling her like this happened and this happened, blah, blah, blah. This is how it went down. And she's not sure what actually happened there. She doesn't know who was telling her the truth. So she says that whole thing made her really paranoid and she just wishes it never happened. And Christy's like, yeah, me too. So Christy says, you deserve to have a moment and just like let it all come out. So go for it. So then Kat says, I just wanted to talk to Jackson and hear what he had to say because I'm listening to everyone. So I want to hear like everyone's version of what happened. And Christy and Jess are telling her like, yeah, you should do that. You deserve to do that. So then Jess says, you have a big vote to cast this week. Why are you saying that? Oh my God, you're supposed to be acting like everyone is voting Jackson out. Why would you say that? Did Jess just spoil the blind side? I mean, she didn't straight up say like, Jack's going, but she did kind of give Christy a clue that the vote could be a lot closer this week than she thought. So anyway, Kat says that she's trying really hard to separate personal from game, and she just wanted to hear both sides. But as she left the have-not room, people, Nick, started questioning her and told her that she's a bad liar. So then Christy tells Kat, you need to listen to your intuition. Just do what you think is right. You know, listen to your gut, blah, blah, blah. As long as it's what I want. So Kat is still really upset that the vote almost flipped and that nobody was telling her about it. So she could have been blindsided. So Christy's like, yeah, but we weren't considering getting rid of you because we wanted you out. It was because Jackson said that you and Holly knew each other before. So you wanted her out. I mean, she's trying to place all the blame on Jackson here, but you gotta take some of that blame, come on. So Christy says, I hate saying this, but if you did vote to keep Jackson this week, it would be really strange to me. And it would make me believe that you and Holly did know each other before. And maybe Jackson, whatever. So then Christy starts probably also fake crying. Oh my God, she's like, it would be too inconsistent with the things that you said and your beliefs and blah, 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 blah. You made that nice speech before the eviction, well, and you'd be going against that. So it was a lot. But Kat says, again, she's trying to separate game from personal. And she says, it's not true. I didn't know Holly before coming into this house. That's a lie. But anyway, Jess has a real mic drop moment. She brings up that Jack is only loyal to 3 people, and he has made that known. He is gunning for everyone else. Boom, that's all you need to know. Okay, so then Nick and Jackson check in with each other. Everybody has to go talk to Jackson in the have-not room because that's where he's spending all of his time now. So Jackson lets him know, hey, the 6 were planning to use you and, you know, get you to take out some people for them, and then after that they were just gonna dump you. And Nick is like, I know, Holly already told me. So Jackson implies if he stays, he's gonna target those 4. Jack, Christy, Sis, and Tommy. So then Nick is like, okay, cool, tight. He asks, do you know how Holly's gonna vote this week? And Jackson says, I'm not gonna speak for her, but I think she will probably be voting for me to stay. Nick seems very concerned that it's going to be a tie because, again, he doesn't want to sour his relationship with Christy, Tommy, and Sis. So he's like, is Holly going to vote for you too? Like, is this going to be a 4-4 or is this going to be a 5-3? Because, yeah. I think Nick would feel a lot more comfortable if he knew that he would be in the majority of the vote and it wouldn't just be a tie. So Nick is advising Jackson, lay low, and don't do anything stupid. He doesn't tell him how he's gonna vote, but he's like, don't give up. I'm not just saying that for nothing. So yeah, he's pretty much saying like, I'm gonna vote to keep you. So then Cliff checks in with Holly, and he lets her know that Nick was concerned about her vote specifically. So she's like, Jack's gotta go. She's pretty adamant that Jack should be the one to leave this week. It would be really bad if they missed another opportunity to get rid of him. So she says this is a good move for everyone and it gives all of us more of a chance to win. So yeah, she will be voting to evict Jack. And also, she's not gonna evict her buck buddy. Okay, here's a question. Why the hell was Nick rubbing his foot on Tommy's penis? I'm not kidding. They were just like laying there. It was Nick Tommy and then Jack was in one of the other beds talking to them, and Nick just starts rubbing his foot on Tommy's penis, and he's like, "Are you hard?" What the hell? Did Tommy ask for that? Because I don't know that there was like consent there. It was kind of uncomfortable to watch. I remember pre-feeds in his interview with Jeff, or maybe it was Ika, I don't know. Tommy said, showmance-wise, he would only want a tasteful kiss on the feeds. He doesn't need his mom seeing that foot stuff. Ugh! Okay, so then Christy comes in, and Jack, I mentioned Jack is also in the room, so she's telling them she's in a bad mood, and she confirms it does have something to do with Kat, but also Cliff is sneaky. They all have it out for Cliff. It's ridiculous. So Christy says that she feels like Kat's vote should really be a no-brainer this week, and it seems like she's making it a big brainer. Tommy says, "We just gave her an effing trip to Hawaii. What's going on here?" You're just gonna buy her vote this week? So Christy says, it seems like Kat and Holly definitely know each other. They were not lying about that. So, or I'm saying like Jackson was not lying when he's talking to Jack. I think my brain is broken today. But Christy says, we're gonna have to be really delicate with Kat this week. We're gonna have to make sure we don't put any pressure on her because we don't need her freaking out and evicting Jack. But she also says there's no way that Kat is gonna keep Jackson. There's just no way after the speech that she made and everything. So then they're kind of getting confused why Kat feels like she's the deciding vote this week and why her vote is so important in the first place. Jess, did you blow up the blind side here? So Tommy's like, when did all these other people flip their votes? Why is this not a unanimous vote? Maybe because other people have their own objectives in the game and they don't always match up with yours. Just a thought. So Tommy says, if Kat doesn't vote with us, she is going to become his new public enemy number one target in his book. All right, so anyway, what the hell is going on in this house? Because later, Jackson was up in the HOH room. Ooh, he left the have not room with Jess, Kat, and Holly. And Jackson's asking Jess, you know, is there anything that I can clear up with you? He says, I've never lied to you. And Jess asks him, are you sure that you've never lied to me, Jackson? Because Christy has been spewing a lot of stuff about Jackson lately. And she's really been going on and on about how Jackson's been doing all this like crazy stuff just to be spiteful and just to make people fight, like throwing out the cookie dough, what's it called? Pouring the mouthwash down the drain, taking super long showers so that there's no hot water for other people, all these things, peeing on the floor, spilling things on purpose. And these are all things that I've heard Jackson talk about before, for sure. But he is kind of walking this back now. He's playing around with the wording a bit. So Jess is asking him about the cookie dough, the mouthwash, all that stuff. And Jackson says, okay, I did say that I was the reason why it was missing, but I wouldn't throw out food. I wouldn't waste food. I wouldn't waste the mouthwash. No way. So he's saying, yes, I did eat most of the cookie dough, and then I passed out the rest of it to some people, like some select people. Honestly, after seeing what we've seen with Jackson and his eating habits, is it really a surprise that he ate all that cookie dough? I believe that. But at the same time, I also do think that he was eating it all himself so that other people couldn't have it, and I think he was doing other things to piss people off, but he's trying to get around the wording here. So anyway, then they're rehashing the whole Kat and Holly knowing each other thing again. Jackson is kind of raising his voice a bit during this whole conversation too. It's like, whoa dude, calm down. But Kat and Holly are still saying, oh, we didn't know each other, we didn't know each other. It's a lie. So then Nicole joins them and they circle back around to the cookie dough shit, and Nicole's like, and she says this while she's laughing, but she's like, yeah, we all really need to get over like the cookie dough stuff and things like that, because we have more important matters at hand here. So then Jackson is telling them how he was eavesdropping on some conversations earlier, which he was, and he heard Jack, Tommy, and Nick, and at one point Sis, all talking in the room together, and they were saying things about how they shouldn't do something until after the power veto ceremony because they didn't want to risk Jess getting upset and changing the nominations or something along those lines. But he didn't know the exact details of what they were waiting to do and blah, blah, blah. So Jess, hearing this, is getting more and more paranoid about Nick. She was already freaking out about him a little bit because Christy told her that Nick promised that he's going to be voting out Jackson this week, which doesn't line up with what Nick is saying to everybody else on like Jess and Cliff and Nicole's side, all them. So she's kind of like, what's going on with Nick here? Why is he trying to protect these people? So Jess says that Nick is trying to play both sides, and maybe she should use the power veto this week on Jackson and put up Nick in his place. I don't think she means like so he would be the new target, but like to ensure that Jack goes because they can't trust Nick's vote. So Holly's like, I don't know, I think we should give Nick the benefit of the doubt here. They talk about how they think that Nick is just trying to be like neutral right now. Nicole really vouches for him and says that she was in a similar position before too, where she was just kind of stuck in the middle. So she's like, I don't think we need to like do anything drastic here. So then Kat's like, hot take, what if we take Jackson down and put up Tommy in his place? Because that will guarantee that Jack loses another vote and we gain one with Jackson voting with us. So Jess is like, yeah, I don't want Tommy to be upset with me. I don't want to do it. So they talk about it for a while, but in the end they decide that they should just keep nominations the same because the votes are there. Even if they don't have Nick's vote, it'll still be 4-4 and Jess will break the tie, Jack will go, and they'll know where Nick stands. And in that case, it would be not with them. But if it is a 5-3 vote, that means that Nick voted with them, so they'll feel pretty good about that. So in other news, Nicole also expressed she was really upset because Christy, Sis, and Jack were all making fun of Cliff during the power veto competition. Now, he wasn't even competing, but it sounds like he was helping retrieve like arrows or something in between rounds during the competition, so they were laughing at him while he was running and bending over to pick them up. That is so shitty. I hope they show that on the show so everybody sees how nasty they are, because that is really effed up. So Nicole is going on a rant here. It's a justified rant, being like, oh, are you just upset because he's in his 50s and he's schooling you? Put up or shut up. Why don't you win an HOH and put him up and try and get rid of him? Oh yeah, you did like 2 times and you couldn't follow through. Yeah! And then she was like, assholes. Nicole's the best! Woo! Okay, so Tommy began his punishment from the power veto competition. And it's one of those cases where it's a punishment for the whole house. It's called BB Explorer, and he's got to wear this like rocket ship costume for a whole week, and the headpiece for this costume looks like a pee-pee. So when Mission Control calls him over the intercom, he's got to go to the storage room, get one of his gadgets, because he's got 3 different potential missions here. His mission will be either to travel at the speed of light, sound, or smell. So when he gets called, he's got to go into each room and yell, I'm traveling at the speed of blank, you know, whatever it is that time. And then he has to do the activity that goes along with it. So when it's light, he's running around with these big like flashlights attached to his arms. For sound, he's got these mini air horns, and for smell, he's got these canisters that attach to his arms, and they have like a little fan in them, so they blow out this like disgusting smell. Everybody was like when he walked into the room, so that's pretty rough. And he's already been called quite a bit, day and night. He got up a few times through the night last night, so it's pretty rough. I think he's already hating it, along with everyone else. And then in other news from last night, Nick confirmed to Nicole and Jess that yes, he is doing what Jess wants. He will vote Jack out this week. And I think he feels a little bit more comfortable with it, possibly because Nicole let him know, like, hey, don't tell anyone, but pretty sure Holly is voting with us and voting to evict Jack. So it won't be a tie. So just chill. Okay, so today, Jack started his punishment off feeds. It sounds like it's pretty similar to Rachel's punishment from last season. It's 24 hours, and I think he's getting yelled at by an alien. So that's fun, right? And then Jackson hasn't started his yet. I think his is also 24 hours, and he's gonna be an on-call alien doctor. So maybe they're gonna do his after Jax is over. But yeah, that's it so far. Should be an interesting day. Hopefully Nick will not ruin everything with his trying to stay neutral with both sides. But tomorrow they're gonna have the power veto ceremony, and so far it looks like Jess will not be using the veto. But then again, Nick better not have this up. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. And until tomorrow, much love.